I think it's important to say that we're all professionals.
Yeah.
We all work in the market. We're all filmmakers. We all work either for broadcasters or doing different stuff. And that was actually the common ground to. We met each other at some events, and
I met Sebastian in Las Vegas as well. And I'm asking him, why are you running around like a crazy person alone? We're both in the same city. We don't know each other. We both struggle to fill our sites. And yeah, and then the three of us teamed up and basically relaunched the website together 5 years ago. Got rid of the forum, which is a terrible thing to maintain. If you've ever run a forum, you know you basically need a lot of time just deleting, you know, terrible comments. And I mean, it's not saying that every forum is like that, but it can get very nasty. Philip knows. And how's your forum going? See, he killed his forum too. We did it too, and actually gave it away. And then, yeah, and just restarted and relaunched the website, doing the things that we enjoy doing, which is doing camera reviews, you know, like usually from the lower end, medium range cameras that are used for professional productions. We all come from a professional background. Johnny worked for, you know, BBC and a lot of other broadcasters for many years in news. Sebastian from film school. I'm coming from a film school as well. Did a lot of commercials and documentary work. So we have our different specialities, but we all were always, you know, like budget productions. We had to find a way to make stuff look awesome without a lot of money, like so many others. And yeah, the 5D was the start, and then we were just trying to make it work. And somehow, when you start blogging, people ask for more and more and more and more, and you just have to do more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And
so,
yeah,
actually, the route it's becoming a business in the sense that you have a responsibility. I mean, there is more information and more. You have to find a way how to communicate with your audience, and you have to know that everything that you write and everything that you review can and should have a consequence, because otherwise you can write whatever you want. So you really have to be responsible when you're running a blog like this. Also, the blog, of course, it deserves a lot of attention, and it's almost like a beast that you have to feed. That's why we have like a news section where we write about new equipment. We have like 2 or 3 posts a day. Just, you know, people can get the knowledge of what is happening generally. And then we have the reviews, and we're doing different sorts of reviews. We will talk about it in a second. And then we have industry discussions, because the discussions, it's always very interesting to talk to other professionals in our field, and those can be the manufacturers, the developers, the engineers, and of course our colleagues. So we're doing it in a different way. And right now Nino is running with a convertible Mustang, actually not running, driving. And we have different guests from different sides of the industry. It can be users, can be manufacturers, and just talk about things that hopefully can enhance the knowledge of the people who are watching those episodes.
What we didn't mention yet is we have now, I mean, we really try to post on normal days, not during a show like this, but on normal days we try to post 2 to 3 news posts every day. That's a lot of work, and we couldn't do that if we didn't have a team of really dedicated writers. And all of them, they are from across the world. All of them are professional shooters. Took us a very long time to put this team together. They are amazing people. None of them are professional bloggers, so that's very important to us. They are all shooters. They come from, with people who work in post-production, with people who do specialize in a high-speed cinematography. We have people who shoot documentaries, with people who shoot a lot of narrative film here in California. So it's really getting broader and broader. And with them, we managed to feed the beast in a way, in a regular way. During times like shows like this, there's of course a lot more announcements, and we're here with a team of 7, and we probably post like 4 or 5 posts a day, with including video every day of the show and after the show as well. Yeah. So
I think this is like a broad introduction of Cinema5D. We're doing very well. Thank you for asking. And actually, I want to concentrate now and talk about the reviews, because many people are asking how do we do them, how do we choose the cameras, and so on. So first of all, as a basic rule, we decided to concentrate on anything that has a sensor size of 1 inch and up, because we want to, otherwise there is no end for the number of cameras that are out there, and I don't think that those cameras are really being used by filmmakers unless, for example, GoPro or others, those have a specific use. Soon we will introduce a new initiative, but it's a bit too early to talk about it now. But we will also review different kind of cameras. A bit too early yeah, I think it's a bit too early. So we have those 1-inch sensor cameras and up. Those can give you shallow depth of field, can give you a certain look that we are all looking for when we shoot. And usually the contact with the manufacturers is being done on a weekly basis, or we work very close with them. But, and this is very important to stress, there is always a very, very, very thin line between being in contact with the manufacturer and review the product, and afterwards write what you really think about it, because those reviews are not being sponsored by the manufacturers at all. This is very important for us to stress, and it's a rule that we set up for ourselves, and that's one of the reasons why B&H and in the rest of the world, and CVP in England, our sponsors, not a manufacturer.
I mean, if I might add, so B&H has really supported us for a very long time now, and we're very thankful for that. It's very important to have a very large retailer support our site, because we earn a little bit of money and we finance the site and the whole production by affiliate is one stream. So we get a little bit of money if we send sales to B&H. The good thing about it is B&H has virtually everything, so it really doesn't matter what camera people buy as long as they buy a camera. So and that's very important to stress. And what Johnny already mentioned is we don't have sponsored reviews by camera manufacturers. We do take sponsorship from other companies for show coverage and big expenses like trips like this one with a big team. But even then, these are news posts, and we stay completely independent of the people who are at the beginning of the logo roll. For the reviews, we only have B&H for most of the world as a sponsor, and we're very proud of that.
That's right.
Yeah. So
we get the camera. One of the requirements is to get it as early as possible. Sometimes, actually, the camera is at the end of what we call beta stage or so on. If the manufacturer is asking us to make it very clear that this is not the final version, of course we do this. And then we have the camera usually for 1 or 2 days just to get to know the camera, and if it's really interesting to review it. Because if we get from whatever manufacturer the same camera over and over again, and there is no really nothing is the technology is not new, or the picture quality is not new. Although sometimes you want to show but actually nothing has changed. It's not always that people must run and buy the latest and the greatest, because at times it's a different model, but the video quality is actually the same. And we are only reviewing the video side of those cameras. Even if it's a photo camera that can shoot video, we don't care about the photos. So first, of course, we have to learn the camera. We have to learn the menu, especially if it's a manufacturer that I can give, for example, an example, Fujifilm. Only lately they're doing cameras which are really interesting for filmmakers. Before they did a very nice photo cameras, but on the video side they were actually lagging. So that means same with Olympus. Olympus, the latest camera is actually it's a walking gimbal in the camera. It's a very interesting camera.
It's a 5-axis stabilizer built into the camera and the lenses actually. Yeah, it's amazing.
That's right. So this combination of stabilized lens and the camera itself, the camera body, gives a very interesting effect. But those cameras and those manufacturers are not very well known to the videographers. So that means we have to learn the menu. We have to understand what to press in order to activate certain functionality. And after we feel confident enough to operate the device itself, the next stage will be actually to find a true story, because it's very easy to run out, shoot something next home, to wave the camera next to bunch of beautiful, Vienna is very beautiful. It's very easy, yeah. But that's not the aim. The aim is 95% of the time to simulate a really working environment, because we are doing mostly documentaries, and I would like to see how that specific camera that I'm testing is actually working for me. So of course, I'm a bit limited because I'm working with one camera. Sometimes I'm working with one lens, or like a preferred lens, or several of them. But obviously, I'm limiting my creativity with the tools that I'm using, but I'm trying to be accurate. So I have one camera, sometimes one lens, and then the process of starting to find a story starts. And in Austria, this is not always easy, because I speak only English. I don't speak German. I'm actually a fake Austrian. I'm not a real one. And then imagine that I write my emails to Austrian people, which are very nice, but at the same time, there's a structure in Austria, and suddenly they get an email in English that I am, and who I am, who I'm representing, and it's a win-win situation, because they get a video that they can actually use for their marketing purposes, and on the same side they have to allow me to publish this video at the end. So of course, anybody that gets this kind of email looking and say, who is this guy and why is he contacting me?
Yeah, so I mean, there are different types of reviews that we do. Johnny does definitely most of them, and they are always kind of small documentaries about a person very often, because it's a contained little story, and he tries to put them in a real context, and you have a few hours to shoot it, and usually in like a one-man band type situation.
Absolutely.
When I review something, I try, depending on what it is, but it can be a music video or it can be a short film, which takes a lot more time to put together. That's why it happens much more rarely. But you need to find the right camera and the right project for that. We all different shooters, and that actually I think is our strength. We are very different people, and we work differently, and we have different opinions. So before anything is published as a review on our side, we bang our heads together for days and disagree on many things. And there are often several reviews of the same camera, actually. I mean, like, you did the Ursa Mini Pro, and I did the Ursa Mini Pro hands-on. And yeah, and we don't always disagree, but I don't always agree, but that's one of the strengths that we have, yeah.
I think as long as everything is going well, there is no really problem. But I think if you find a feature in the camera which is really, really not so good, and it can be low light capability, it can be some noise in the picture, that's when you run into some type of conflict. And of course, the first thing that we do is go back to the manufacturer and ask him, is that how it's supposed to be? And if the manufacturer is saying, oh, it's a faulty unit, we will start all over again and do a new review. But if if that's how it is, then of course we are obliged to share the information with our audience. Yeah.
That's the downside of very often you get pre-production samples, and they tell you it's a pre-production sample, and then they, sometimes say it's because of that. But I've never seen a production sample where these things were really different in the production sample. So it's very often very close to the final version, and not much changes, I think. There's also a third type of review which we did until recently, which were lab tests, which our colleague Sebastian performed. We did a lot of very scientific tests with charts and really measuring dynamic range, and comparing all the cameras in a very scientific way, because the problem that people have is every manufacturer claims something about their camera. One say they have 12 stops, 13 stops, 15 stops. I think I've heard 18 stops. And we try to verify that with the scientific material that we have. This is a standardized test with a standardized color chart that is always the same, always exactly the same lighting conditions. So you actually, what Sebastian did, he established a master, which was the Alexa, because it just has still to date the best dynamic range of all cameras. And from that standard, we compared all the other cameras to that. That's just the dynamic range, for example, but also rolling shutter tests, color accuracy, skin tones, and stuff like that.
I think it's important to understand that the reason we're doing those tests is actually to give the user, the end user, the ability to actually compare between different cameras and sensors. That's why the lab test was actually born. And it's not always easy. Again, it's about responsibility. And sometimes if you don't do mistakes. Yeah. So of course, when you do, and we always try to do our best, sometimes it can be that we do mistakes. And then of course, we'll share the outcome with the audience. I mean, that it can happen too. But lab test is one thing, and for now we will continue to concentrate on the actual reviews because it's just more demanded by the audience. They want to see picture. They want to see how the camera is performing on the real world.
Let me just add something to the lab test. That there's one thing that we can't really share on the side, and we can't go into detail here, but it has happened many times before that through the lab tests, we discovered mistakes in a camera that were not the manufacturers were not aware of, and we are really open in communication with them, and we have very close contact with them. So very often, I think we were responsible for pushed firmware updates or something that was released a little bit later because they realized, oh, okay, well, the guys are right. There's something wrong with this. In this mode of the camera, it might drop a frame in the slow motion mode, for example. This has happened before with one manufacturer and one camera, or there's some type of aliasing that shouldn't occur, and then we communicate with them openly, and that's part of the relationship. And I know that they appreciate that. They know that we are, they can't buy us for these reviews at all. Even if they buy banners on our website, we will always be open. I think that's what our responsibility and our reputation is. We will never compromise on that. Yeah.
So I think it's a game in a way that everybody knows and understands. We get the cameras, we review them, we do write what we think about them. We never had a manufacturer that actually limited us in what we write. Sometimes the feedback is, the engineers are very, very sad about the results, and I guess the solution is just do a better cameras, so they won't be so sad. And everybody knows that nobody makes the perfect camera. Some cameras are better than others in different aspects. And then, of course, comes the writing stage. And the writing itself is also a very tedious work. It's not so easy in the sense that you have to translate your findings into words. And of course, there's different ways to write the outcome. I mean, we can be really, really, it can be very, very direct to the point that actually it doesn't make sense because we're not, we don't want to insult anybody. We know that people were actually working in developing those cameras. So the idea is to bring our findings, but in a polite way. That's what I want to say, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
to wrap it off,
just before, if anybody here has any question about those reviews, and yes, sir. Your name, please. Philip Bloom. Yeah. Philip, I'll tell you, it's very easy for me. I know the truth. Can
you repeat the question for the audience?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Philip was asking if sometimes we feel like giving up because of the comments that we get. For me, the answer is very clear and very easy. I know the truth, and I know that I'm not getting paid from any manufacturer for those reviews. I know that all of us are doing the best we can to avoid mistakes, although sometimes they can happen. So,
but it can be frustrating, definitely. I mean,
frustrating is one thing, but none of us is thinking of giving up or stop. And but I tell you, the majority, you actually hear the minority who are very loud, and then they are very loud in an ugly way. If you knew how many emails we are getting from the people who actually say, just continue what you do, we are supporting you, that's always amazing, and it's always encouraging. So I do believe that we have the audience, and if somebody wants to be vocal, that's fine too.
But I'm sure it's the same for you. I mean, but I know how it is. I mean, you get, for 10 positive comments or emails, you get one nasty negative one, which...
No, I mean, I think it's you end up actually something like having, if you have 99 positive comments and you get one negative one,
yeah,
that's the one you'll focus on. But you're right, I mean, you do get, generally people don't give thanks in the comments, but more people will take the time to complain than actually say thank you, generally, because it's so easy to just
that's
say,
true.
oh, that was cool, but people can be very ungrateful, because you put so much effort into them, and especially Johnny does it better than you, because he puts stories into them instead of your little montages.
What?
And it's amazing, and it's, you know, I look at your reviews and they're great, and there is nobody else who does as many as well as you guys. So
yeah, no,
without you people doing it, we'd be buying them blind, because I can't be bothered doing them anymore.
But I started because of you, so.
I passed
not because of me. Anyhow, guys, thank you very much. If there's any other question, of course, we are very happy. Sorry? Sued?
It's a good question. We were fearing that we would be sued for something.
Yeah, the fear is there. In reality, it never happened. I think there's a lot of communication before somebody decides to sue you. And I think there's actually no real reason to sue us. As I'm saying, nothing has been done intentionally. And if there is a mistake or if there is a multifunction and that we are aware of it, then we will try to eliminate.
But I think, I mean, this is also overstating it, you know, it's the process these reviews are made is, you know, before you see especially the technical reviews, they've gone through weeks-long communications with the manufacturer. If they didn't reply to a mistake that's in there, it's actually their fault because they didn't move it on to the right person, yeah, and that has happened before. And as Johnny said, it's like, it's a very open communication. We don't sit in our dark room and just, you know, slash a camera because we don't like it and then publish it, like some others do, unfortunately. And so we are very open about that, and there's no hiding. So
the process is, if we found something wrong with the camera, we communicate with the manufacturer, we give them the chance to respond. Sometimes there is no response because of different reasons. But then we try with a second email, even saying the date that the review will go online. And if still there is no response, then we feel free to publish it.
Yeah, but it is a thin line. Yep.
Yes, please.
Hi. Are written reviews as important as video reviews, or vice versa?
Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning.
A written review versus a video review.
It depends on camera. Of course, it's a video review. Because it doesn't make any sense to... It's almost like you want to study to swim. Maybe I can take an internet course.
Read a book.
You know? So we need the actual picture. Written stuff can go more about news or some type of equipment that don't deserve the actual look. So
it really depends. For a lot of the accessory stuff, written stuff makes sense. Especially, you know, some things are just not very presentable on a video. We do try to do more video reviews, even if it's us on camera, like, you know, talking about something that we tested. Simply because we find that, you know, content on YouTube gets a lot of exposure organically, so we would reach people that we do not reach through our site. And we do currently have like 1 million people a month on our site, but there are a lot of people that we can reach through YouTube which we wouldn't reach
not yet.
Almost.
Yeah, and that's what. And yeah, that's what I meant. Versus people who don't feel like reading, basically.
Yeah.
I started learning cameras later on, and I started doing so by YouTube. So I learned to do it through YouTube, and and then I learned about you guys, and I noticed that you guys do some written ones a lot. So it's kind of like going back.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
We are also planning on doing more video content in different ways because of that, and also educational content because of that. Yeah.
Is the future Snapchat reviews? Is that?
Oh God, no. I mean, Philip is doing a lot of Instagram story reviews right now. That's how he's covered.
When you're at night editing.
Yeah.
Okay. Any more questions?
And thank you very much.
Thank you.